Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, beginning Torah portion today, Ve'eki. This is an extremely important Torah portion for myself personally, as this is the parsha that I was born during the time of. So for me, this has some great relevance and significance, and we'll discuss more about that as the week unfolds. Today, let's begin with chapter number 47 and verse 28 and the beginning of verse 29. In verse 28, we read, "And Yaakov lived in the land of Mitzrayim 17 years. So the length of Yaakov's life was 147 years. Then a very interesting line says, "And the time for Israel to die drew near, and he called his son Yosef." So 17. We understand then that there is a period of good years that has been made available to Yaakov. He has suffered quite a bit in 130-year space of time. That's the time from his birth until the time that he stood before Pharaoh, his family having been brought to Mitzrayim. During that time, he struggled with family matters with Esau and then with Laban. He had 4 wives. That was an issue. That was a problem. He had quarreling sons. That provided a problem. 22-year space of time, there was the absence of Joseph. He grieved. He mourned. It would seem that the prophetic gifting was at least diminished to some degree. And now, at age 130, he arrives in Mitzrayim. He is restored to Joseph. The battles are over. Even during a time of famine, there is food available. Joseph makes sure of that. Joseph has also made sure that they have settled in Goshen, which is the pristine area. It is the most suitable area for his family. They're happy. They're together. They have their wives, their children, their homes. There is sustenance. There is everything that they need. For 17 years, things are good. The word good in Hebrew, tet vav, just so happens to equal the numerical value of 17. So there is the good, the tov. And I'm happy for Yaakov. I mean, he has endured and persevered and overcome. This is a fitting end toward his life. However, as we look at these verses, number one, it says that Yaakov's time is drawing near. And we remember that Yaakov is the reference to the natural man. He lives in a natural physical world. On the other hand, Israel is the spiritual title. This references the one who wrestles with spiritual elements and powers and has the ability to connect to the higher realm. That's troubling, because verse 29 says it's not Yaakov it's dying, but Israel. Are we to see now the culmination of this man's life and to see the end of all the struggle to birth the nation of Israel suddenly come to an end, and there's a period there now and there's nothing else to be had? No, there's more to it than that. So let's find out the more to it. The reality is that as long as the covenant that was established with Abraham is bound up within the singular lives of the patriarchs, of Abraham, of Yitzhak, of Yaakov, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, as long as these men are carrying the brunt and the weight of all that the covenant means, then it's just that. It's encapsulated in one singular life at a time, one small expression. There has to be a time where it's no longer patriarchal, but it has become now distributed to the family. In other words, the power and the expression of the covenant has to be diffused, if you will, through multiple lives, multiple expressions, multiple personalities, and in various ways. None of these sons were identical to the other. They all had their different personalities, their interests, their giftings, their talents, their anointings, and we'll see that at the very end of the portion. There has to be a covenant expression through the varied giftings and enablings as expressed through the variety of the brothers in their personality and strengths and their weaknesses. This causes the covenant to take on the fullest of expressions. Up to this point, for the last 130 years, the covenant has been expressed, or the last 147 years, it has been expressed primarily through Yaakov. Now things are going to change. So what this also says, that as the end of the patriarchal era has come, the covenant being bestowed upon a variety of people, though they are a varied people, they must learn to function as a singular family. The challenge. How do we get all of this difference to become united, singular, functional together? She would say, Ichad. This is true in our day as well. I mean, you see this coming, you're already ahead of me. So instead of fighting one another for family dominance, they have to become the family of Israel, the nation, the people, Am Yisrael. The people who, though we have a physical realm identity, our spiritual realm identity is that we're Israel. We are a people that has fought and prevailed and made prince with the king, with our Elohim. We're recipients of the covenant, and we never need to forget the significance of the fact we carry the covenant. Thank you, Yeshua, that we are given the opportunity to carry the covenant. Now, Yeshua likewise had to die. It was preordained that he die. And there was a reason beyond even redemption and the shedding of blood and the resurrection. There's even more to it than that. Not to belittle that in any stretch of the imagination. That's primary, that's key. But there's another part. We read in Yeshua's teachings, and let me flip there real quick. In the book of Yochanan, chapter 12 and verse 24, Yeshua said, "Truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and it dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit." There was a reason that Yeshua died and was buried. That as like a seed planted in the ground, that fruit bearing could come from that. We go to Yochanan chapter number 16. And in verse 7 we read, "But I say the truth to you, it is better for you that I go away. For if I do not go away, the Helper shall not come to you at all. But if I go, I shall send him to you." And then, of course, we remember Acts chapter 1 and verse 8. "But you shall receive power when the set-apart Spirit has come upon you, and you shall be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all Yehuda and Shemaron and to the ends of the earth." Yeshua dying serves the same like purpose as Yaakov dying. That is, that the power and the anointing of the kingdom that is resident in Yeshua is now disseminated and diffused through all of us. We are now carriers of this covenant and its power and its anointing. The key for us, for this anointing to be made manifest and the covenant to become fruitful, is that you and I learn to operate together as one family, laying aside our differences and our variances and becoming Ichad. Until tomorrow, Shalom.